I think the issue that we're dealing with is companies, as we're describing them, have never existed before, right? There's never been a thing like Facebook before. There's never been a thing like Twitter before, or X. There's never been a thing like Instagram. These are new things in terms of the impact that it has on society, on opinions, on conversations, on distribution of information. There's never been a thing.
And the government hates that. But I'm your boy Tommy Guns. This is the Quote Goats podcast. Like, subscribe if you fuck with me. If you've seen one or more of my videos, hit the bell icon and join me in the comment section and let's talk about it, man. But this is Joe Rogan and Mark Zuckerberg talking about government overreach, free speech, and how it does and or should affect social media and platforms like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and, you know, social media in general. Let's get into it.
Like this, that the government didn't control. So it makes sense from their perspective, continuing the patterns of behavior that they've always exhibited, which is to have control over the media. I mean, there has been CIA operatives that have been in major newspapers forever. There's always been that. There's always been this sort of input that the government had in mainstream media narratives. They are in a position now where they're losing that. They've essentially lost it.
And he's probably absolutely right about that. I mean, if you think about it, before the internet, before social media, before any Tom, Dick, and Harry could have their own voice and just post something up on social media and have the ability for their opinion to go out to, you know, millions, you know, thousands and potentially millions of people, there were only a few forms of media or vis-a-vis like entertainment. Like it was radio at first, but, you know, you had to have a big broadcast. You had to know how to do radio. You know, it was television. It was really, it was just radio and television, you know, for the longest time. And since it was, and in that, it was like gatekeepers, and you had to know somebody or have the expertise to be able to garner a following of people, like-minded individuals who, you know, followed you. You know, now anybody can garner a following of people online and sway their opinions. You know what I'm saying? And the government, until recent history, has always had a monopoly on the public discourse and the ideas that they were allowed to flourish. And they could always kind of herd people like sheep and kind of sway the dominant opinions in society. And they hate that. You know, that's why they're kicking out TikTok from the US, you know, unless they sell it to some American entity that they can control, because ultimately the US government don't like the fact that free speech is in the Constitution. The American government does a good job of acting like the good guy when they really have a lot of nefarious shit going on. That's my new favorite word, nefarious intent. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep going.
Especially with the push during COVID deteriorated, as you were saying before, the opinion and the respect that people have for the facts that are coming from mainstream journalism in a way that I've never seen before in my life, where an enormous percentage of the population does not trust mainstream media anymore.
And you know where that came from? That came from COVID times. It came from them lying about immigration, lying about masks. It's a plethora of things I could mention.
So, well, what do they trust? They trust social media. Well, who's running that? Well, there are a bunch of people who figured it out and invented it. Well, no, fuck that. Like, we got to crack down on that. Like, we've got to get our hands on this, which we saw during COVID, which we saw during the Biden administration's attempt to remove the Hunter Biden laptop story from Twitter and from all these different things that we saw happen.
Oh, let's not even talk about the Hunter Biden laptop story. Matter of fact, let's talk about it a little bit, because back then when that story first came out, it was made to be some made up myth by, you know, whoever on the internet that they're just trying to smear Joe Biden's son's name to sway people's opinion on whether to vote for him or not. It was totally made up, and you would be severely punished for even mentioning it on social media. You might lose your whole platform if you even try to delve into it and flesh out if it was even true or not. You would get shadow bans. A whole bunch of stuff would happen, and like, it would be very frustrating to try to get to the truth on the conservative side in media when it came to that story and stories like it. But fast forward to today, it was absolutely true. He actually left his laptop somewhere at some pawn shop to get fixed, and the dude got into it, and all the pictures are online for everybody to see. Pictures of him doing cocaine, snorting powder off of women's butts, in the shower with people he's not supposed to be in the shower with. It's pictures of him doing crazy stuff, The same with his dealings in Ukraine that came out later. Like, and back then, when Biden and the Democratic Party had Facebook in their pocket and would call them, screaming to them about what they should take down, trying to control the narrative, they still had that power. But now that your boy Trump in there, and you got your boy Zuck doing, jujitsu with Dana White, and he's seeing the light, and then now, supposedly things are going to change a little bit.
The way they contacted you guys, what they're trying to do with getting you to remove real information about vaccine side effects, like that. This is like this new attempt to crack down on this new thing, which is a distribution outlet that's far more successful than anything they've ever controlled before, and they have no control of it. Right? They had CBS, they had NBC, they had when they had the New York Times and all these Washington Post. When they were in control of narratives in that way, it was so much easier. There wasn't some sort of pirate radio voice that came on and said, "Hey guys, look, here's the latest studies. It shows this is not true. Here's why they're lying about that. Here's why they're lying about this." And now that's what you get all day long on X. It's all day long is like dissolving illusions, and that's a completely new thing that probably led to Trump getting elected.
Yeah, I mean, the causality there is tricky, but because there's a lot of
there's a lot of things.
I mean,
but without it, he probably doesn't get elected.
He had to mull that over. He had to think about how he was gonna reply to that, because he had a hand in Trump losing the last election. In my opinion, you know what I'm saying?
It's tough to know. I mean, I do come back to this point that every major incumbent lost their elections around the world this year.
I think that's also
but
because of social media.
It might be because of that revealing how kind of incorrect and dishonest I think some of these governments were.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite possible. And I mean, I do think that there is this cycle that goes on where, within a society, it's not just the government that has power. There's like certain people who are in these like culturally elite positions, and journalists, TV news anchors, like who are the people who people broadly trust, right? They're not all in government. They're like a lot of people in other positions. It's like, who are the people that basically people look to, and I think that's basically, it needs to shift for the internet age. And I think a lot of the people who people looked to before, they're kind of realizing, hey, they weren't super honest about a lot of these issues that we.
If you're not already brainwashed and like super compromised, because some people just live in a total different reality than actual reality. And, some people follow people like Joy Reid and, the women on The View, and they're completely captured by this liberal victim mindset and see the world through a completely different lens and don't even want to give subjective truth a chance because it might offend them. It might be a little abrasive. It might hurt their feelings a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I admit that's hard to get through because I used to be on that side too.
That we face. And I think that's partially why, social media isn't a monolithic thing. It's not that people trust Facebook or X. They trust the creators and the voices that they feel like are being authentic and giving them valuable information on there. So there's, I think, going to be just this whole new class of creators who basically become the new kind of cultural elites that people look at and are like, okay, these are the people who give it to me straight.
Yeah, man. I gotta say, I like the way things are going since the Republicans and, the conservative side of things won the election and Trump is back in there. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna watch everything Trump does, and I'm skeptical about government in general. It doesn't matter who's in there, but I do like the direction it's going, and I don't think. I mean, it's up to you if you want to trust the government. I think, or media, or the legacy media, but I do not trust the media. I know, like, these people are not getting paid millions upon millions of dollars to be genuine and say genuine opinions. They are getting paid to push narratives. Like, the media is like propaganda. Propaganda runs rampant in the media, and I don't think they are to be trusted at all, in my opinion. And I think people should. You don't have to trust every creator, everybody who's, reporting on the news online. But I think it would behoove a lot of people to find a creator, find somebody that you share opinions with, or find somebody who is genuine, that, is unbiased in your opinion and can give it to you straight, like he just said, when it comes to the news, or when it comes to just opinions on anything, or just flesh shit out yourself. If you have time, you can become a creator. Like, you have the power to be media also. And like, if you do that, don't try not to be so idealistic. Try to see things. I try to approach things from a middle ground, find, dredge out the truth, and then I go from there. Yes, I lean more conservative, but, sometimes conservatives can be on some bullshit too. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole reason why I wanted to start my own platform, because I just want the truth, or the closest thing to it. And I hate when I can tell that people are either blatantly lying to me, or lying to me by omission, or lying to me with word semantics. And that's why I don't see myself ever again supporting, what the Democratic Party is right now. That's why I couldn't get behind Kamala, because she is a blatant liar. She either blatantly lied about things, or she used certain words and terminologies to lie in that sense. When they call abortion like health care, and, all kind of stuff like that, to manipulate people into believing whatever narrative they're trying to push. But I digress, man. That was a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast with Mark Zuckerberg. Y'all should go check out the whole thing. It's 3 hours long, so I can only play clips of it here and there. But if you found any value in this content, I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. My name is Tommy Guns. This is the Quote Goat Podcast, and I'll see you guys next time, man. Peace.